And we are live. Welcome everybody to another Arcadia Roundtable podcast. It has been a little while. I have decided to pursue a multi-platform strategy, chasing a 30% margin. So pushing hard now, going across, whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch or any other platform I decide I need to distribute to hit those goals. Thank you for coming along and supporting the show as you always do. I am joined in my pursuit by, where should we start? Let's start with Luke. Luke, how's it going?
Good. I suspect that will be the only reference to that news topic that we'll get. Which is good. So yeah, no, I'm very well. Thank you.
Excellent. I was just talking to Luke in the green room before because I can tell he's getting a bit antsy. He's been in his country for too long. He wants to go on holiday again.
Way too long.
But we're good and we're here. So, Deadly Headley, your room's nice and purple today. Your beard's looking all freshly brushed. How you doing?
Very good. Very, very happy. I popped out to go and brush my beard minutes before we went. Not even minutes, actually seconds before we went live. Little peek behind the curtain there. Yeah, I'm all right. Okay. I've got audio coming through my speakers.
That's where it's
sorry if there was
from.
an echo right there. Slightly thrown off by that, but yeah, generally very, very good. Could also do with a holiday. So Luke, if you've got one going, mate, then yeah, let us know.
There's a queue, Deadly Headley. There's a queue.
Yeah, it is his first, and then.
Well, let's go straight into it. So what we're going to do today, for those that don't know, we like to talk about our games. Mostly, we're going to talk about the games that we've been playing, things like that. Some stuff around the new releases. Actually, I haven't spoken to these two to know what they have and haven't played of the new stuff, so we'll get to that. We'll talk about the big topics of the week, which maybe if you're here watching and you're in chat, you can throw some of those in there, move things along for us as we go. And then we'll take our delightful community questions at the end, which is always a highlight. So that's what we've got in store, and we're going to go straight in with Deadly Headley. So you've not been here for 2-3 weeks. I don't know. None of us have been here for 3 weeks.
It's been a few weeks now, actually. Yeah, it has.
This means you've got millions of games.
Largely Battlefield. I'm not going to lie. A lot of Battlefield. I've really been enjoying that. I also helped Xbox Era review Little Nightmares 3. Which was relatively fun, but far from perfect. I don't know how much of the sort of review feedback and stuff you've looked into.
I've not looked into it in the slightest at all, and I have some questions.
Okay.
I quite liked, well, actually, did I like the first two? Did I even play the second one? I don't know, but I'm very familiar with them. I definitely played the first one through its entirety, possibly the second one as well, maybe forgot where those blend. Did you enjoy the first two? Were they part of your research? Have you played them?
So I've played a bit of the first one. I haven't played any of the second one. I have all of them though, so I am going to play through the first one. I've got the first one on PS5 and the second one on PC. So
the reason that I ask is related to the developer change, right? Because 1 and 2 were made by the studio Tertia or whatever they're called that are making Reanimal, and 3 was picked up by a different studio that have tried to keep the kind of feel and vibe. And I was wondering if you noticed how successful they were in doing that.
So I think to the degree of success, I think I obviously can't speak firsthand, having not finished the first two, but this was a question that I asked John because it was Siki Mechanico from Xbox Era was the reviewer on that, but because it had a co-op element, I was playing it with him. He, being a big fan of the first two, was also conscious of that, and I think overall it kept a lot of the charm and the ambience. I think one criticism that I fully agree with, specifically around co-op and that sort of charm and vibe and atmosphere that you get with Little Nightmares, is that you sort of lose it a little bit in co-op, because obviously there's another person you're talking to, there's someone you're interacting with or working together with, and you sort of lose that sense of immersion. But to be fair, something that John also followed up with is that he tried a little bit for single player and actually liked that a lot more, and it delivered that vibe. So I think if you're a fan of the series, you're going to like this too. The main criticism I had with it is some of the gameplay just needs a little bit of fine tuning, to be honest. I think a lot of the classic features that come as part of the Little Nightmares experience are still there in terms of depth being a little bit awkward, but I sort of argue that it's potentially a little bit part of the charm as well. The co-op opportunities, even if you're in single player, are quite cool. There's a lot of sort of opportunities for these two characters to help each other out. They've both been equipped with different tools to help work through the challenges that are set in front of them as well. There were a few sort of quality of life experiences, or a few quality of life instances that actually made the overall experience quite frustrating, being that there were some pre-scripted animations that hadn't been timed properly. So if, let's say, you're running down a corridor and there is some sort of antagonist chasing you down that corridor, it is inconsistent in terms of the amount of time it gives the player. So there was one example in the review that Xbox Era did where you can see us attempt this same corridor multiple times, but the timing changes with the guy coming out every time. That sort of means that there are instances where you are forced to fail that run no matter what, and that inconsistency can get quite frustrating. There were, bearing in mind this was sort of like a review beta setup sort of thing, so minor sort of launch bugs and things like that, they are hopefully fixed in a day one patch. But yeah, there were just a few sort of frustrating moments of gameplay that were entirely out of our control that forced us to fail, and I think a couple of times can kind of excuse it, but this was happening throughout the game and it just got annoying.
Fair. Luke, are you into the Little Nightmares series?
Oddly not. No, as in I've never sat down and played them, which is quite weird because they look like something I would be really into. I think I played a bit of the demo for free, but just for a few minutes. So yeah, not actually sat down and played them in depth, really.
I'm actually I'm a little bit surprised because I would have thought that was the kind of thing you would have a crack at.
Right on my street. Yeah, but I don't know. It's just I've never gone round to them, I think.
I mean, there's a lot of games to play out there. Everybody's got games they would enjoy they've never even tried, I'm sure. I know I have. Right, in that case, let's go on then. Luke, we'll loop back because I'm sure there's more than one game each for this like long extended period we've been away. But Luke, pick some highlights of the things that you've been playing since you've been back from Japan.
I've played quite a lot actually. I've done pretty well for myself. So I finished 2 games the last couple of weeks. I finished Shinobi, which I'd been sat on for a little while. That's like a really nice game it was a nice game to just jump in and out of because the levels are so independent of each other, and they're not unduly complex, so you can kind of put that down for a while, bring it back, and you kind of roughly know where you're going and what you're doing.
Is it difficult?
Yes and no, I'd say. So I think some of the boss fights are pretty difficult. The last boss fight took me a little bit of time. But what I do like about it is that it's a bit sort of it reminds me of the way that From approach their boss fights, which is that like the vast majority of bosses, particularly in this one, more so than probably some Souls bosses, they telegraph their stuff pretty well. So it's kind of just learning, really. And the last boss is kind of evidence of that because, they have attacks that you initially look at and you go, I just don't, what am I supposed to do? Like, how am I actually supposed to avoid this? And then you kind of look at it a bit more and you're like, oh, okay, actually, I get this. Right. So you kind of, I was getting the boss, like I was getting closer and closer with that final boss. And some of the other bosses are like that as well. But But yeah, I really, really loved it, and it kind of came out of nowhere for me because I'm not really I don't have any history with Shinobi at all. But I loved the art style in the demo, and then I heard it was really good, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick this up. And I think it took me probably 12 hours or so to finish. There's lots of optional content in that as well. So a lot of the optional stuff is the most difficult stuff, and it's a mix of this like really hard combat encounters and platforming, so you can kind of take your pick.
You just reminded me, right? So FTW played this an awful lot, and you said, well, while he was active on it, he was talking about it quite a lot, and he was going through trying to get all of these S ranks as well as these no-hit runs on the bosses to get various achievements and things. But this game and games in general that rank your combat, what was typically popping up, does that bother you at all? Like, is it something that makes you think, damn, I wish I had done better, or I wish I wasn't being graded for this, or like, does it influence your experience at all?
No. I think for some people, probably completionists, it would, or if you're chasing achievements and stuff. But for me, I'm just like, I just want to like progress with the game, so it doesn't really bother me that, you know, I've got a D ranking or whatever when I'm going through these.
See, we're different because I'd be playing, and if I had like a little bit of a sweaty encounter and I felt pretty good about it, and then it came up and said D, you were too slow, I'd be like, fuck you. You've ruined my night. How dare you? Scoring system. I won.
The game's challenging enough without having to do this type of run, like the perfect run. So like I'm satisfied. Like it's a really enjoyable but not insurmountable challenge. And I feel like if I added the expectation of getting, you know, S ranks or whatever to each bit, I'd probably just shoot myself. So but I fully appreciate people who do that, such as FTW. I know he spent hours in like a really long time in that game. So so that was the first game I completed, and the second game I actually completed this game twice, was Silent Hill F.
You're supposed to complete that more than once, right? Like structurally the game wants you to.
Yes. Yeah, it's really interesting the way that it incentivizes you to play more than once, because you basically play through the game and you get an ending, and you know you kind of piece, like, the story is told in a way where, as in many Silent Hill games, the vast majority, the broader context of what is happening is not known to you necessarily, and you've kind of got to piece that together from everything in the game. So that's cutscenes, dialogue, you know, the notes you can find, all of this kind of environmental storytelling, that sort of stuff. But the way that, and I think first of all, just to preface, this is like game of the year contender game for me. Like,
really?
This is really, really up there. So the way that this game does it is it doesn't give you any of the context at all, and you're left kind of like, oh, that, you know, scratching your head at the end of the game. Like, I didn't really like. It was very engaging, and the story is hugely interesting, but it deliberately sort of withholds a lot of the context of what is going on from you. And then you start a second playthrough, and immediately the first cutscene looks the same, but the dialogue is completely different. And it does this thing throughout the game where it goes, okay, you know, you know, it's the same stuff mostly, like the same environments and the same enemies and cutscenes. And then suddenly some cutscenes have different stuff in them that illuminate more about what is going on. And then you'll come across new notes in the game that weren't there on the first run. And then obviously when you get to the end, the ending is completely different. Even the final boss on my second run is completely different from the first. And you can do that probably, it's got 5 endings, the game. One of them is the typical Silent Hill UFO joke ending, so that doesn't count. But there's 4 other endings, and you have to play it basically 3 times to get the true ending. And I was planning to play it 3. In fact, I got partway through a third run, but I tactically saved it in a location where I knew that I could pick up that save and kind of shorten that third run, and then I accidentally overwrote it. So I was like,
serves you right, cheat.
Yeah, so I'm not doing that. So I just watched the the third ending, because I was like, I'm not running through that again, because it's really rare that, like, it's genuinely very rare I would replay a game anyway. So it's pretty big that it got me to play it twice, and I really enjoyed the second playthrough. But yeah, it's hugely interesting.
How long do you think your second playthrough was for, or how long do you think your second playthrough felt versus your first one?
It was
bearing in mind
shorter.
you also would have known.
Yeah. It was definitely. I think my first playthrough was about 11 hours, and then my second playthrough was about 7.
That's not bad. I'd
so-
say that actually does a fairly good job of respecting your time, to be fair, other than like making you play it through multiple times. But it is a game that is on my to play list, partly because I've heard that you're supposed to play it more than once, and that in itself actually intrigues me quite a lot.
Yeah, it's very clever as well, because it helps you. There are certain abilities in the game that you only get partway through your first run. So say 5 or 6 hours. Yeah, double jump. Yeah. 360 spin. But
skateboard unlocked.
Yeah, skateboard. But when you go through the run the second time, you're given those abilities immediately, because it's like a new game plus sort of thing. But that actually, they actually tweak some of the areas so that you can just kind of speed run those, because you have these abilities that you didn't have at the time. So they've really thought about it. Even like on your second playthrough, when a cutscene hits, or a third playthrough, whatever, if games let you skip by holding B, right? If you do that, or like you press B, it will say hold to skip brackets new cutscene. So it will tell you actually.
So it's like, hey, this is different.
Yeah, it's a really good quality of life thing where you can go, okay, this is brand new. I need to watch this. And the other ones are like, this is exactly the same, and I know what happens here, so I'm going to skip that. So that shortens your playthrough. Like, they really thought about this.
Does it tell you when you've definitely already watched it as well? Does it so it give you that heads up, or just for new content?
Just for new content. Content. Yeah. So, but yeah, the story is fantastic. I mean, it's so good. And I really would put it up there with some of the best Silent Hill games. Like, it's very close to 2 for me. It's just like supremely well told, super interesting. The only kind of negative to the game really is probably the combat, which is quite rudimentary, and it doesn't significantly evolve through the course of the game. But because everything else, visuals, audio, stories, and puzzles are so kind of gripping, you kind of suffer it, So just loved it.
Really quickly, because James has put his 17-month membership chat on there. Thank you ever so much, James, for doing that. Keep up the good work. 17 months and counting. Old games are better than new ones. He's having a brilliant time playing Final Fantasy IV and telling me to hurry up with Final Fantasy III, which I have not started yet, but do fully intend to. I'm undecided on whether I take a little detour to Final Fantasy Tactics or not before going on to 3. But looping back onto Silent Hill F. So it's obviously a horror game. I'm not a big Silent Hill person. I don't really know how these games feel along the way, but did it feel... I know you really liked Silent Hill 2 from Bloober a year back.
Yeah.
Did this feel similar in pacing, tension, atmosphere, that kind of thing? Is it completely different?
No, it feels similar. I mean, obviously it takes place in a completely different environment. It's a Japanese rural town in the 60s. But the spirit of Silent Hill, particularly 2, is very much alive in it, in terms of, you have your staples. You've got the fog, right? You've got the otherworld. You've got all these kind of things that you would expect to see in Silent Hill games. You've got very grotesque creatures, which are usually symbolic. You've got, it's survival horror-y. You've got all your puzzles, your kind of interlocking environments and stuff like that. So I'm really surprised, actually, because the developers like Neobards, and I think they made like Resident Evil Reverse before this. And this is like a super sophisticated, high quality game. So like they've kind of come out of nowhere and just produced an excellent game. So that feels very Silent Hill, even though obviously the environment and characters and stuff are not familiar to people who play Silent Hill. and I said it before, it's Ryokishi 07 who wrote the story, and I was really confident it was going to be good, just by the virtue of him writing it. But it turns out it is really good, which is great.
But James has just super chatted as well to say that nobody likes scary games.
The lie.
They do kind of raise a little question though, because you always hear this thing about video games that they're games and they have to be fun. Would you say that Silent Hill F was fun to play?
No, like it's not fun in the way. Like it's not. You know, like I'm also playing Ball Pit right now, and like that's a fun game.
No, it's not.
Well, not for you. Probably suck at it.
I'm awesome at it.
But like, yeah, it's not. It's the word I always use for these games is engaging, and I think engaging can be as satisfying as fun. Yeah, that's how I find it. I mean, maybe engaging is synonymous with fun in this context, but something keeps you playing it, right? And for me, it was like, okay, like I said, it was big that I did a second playthrough, because just usually I complete the game, close the book, say I'm done, right? So yeah, it's just, I really would highly recommend it.
But it's big that you put it up there as one of your games of the year, when there's been, I know you're a big Death Stranding 2 head and all the rest of it, so to have it in the same conversation.
A lot of good games. So yeah, it's
too much.
Big thing.
I still have to finish Death Stranding.
The first one.
The second one, I finished the first one. I need to crack on with the second. There's too much.
Did you try and do them back to back?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, I finished the first one and then bought the second one. It was probably like a month after it came out, I think. I'm just struggling to split my time over stuff. It's too much. Well, I sort of, you know what? I sort of have more time on my hands now, like newly entering the realm of unemployed. But I've been freelancing for the last week and have been surprisingly busy, plus like applying for jobs and shit. So I haven't actually had the downtime I kind of hoping for, post redundancy. But we are where we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in that case, let's have a look at what else you've been playing as well over the last few weeks. What else have you got in there? We've had Little Nightmares. You've had, I can't remember. I've lost where I am already. But
it was
Battlefield.
Little Nightmares.
Let's do Battlefield next, because I'm sure everyone's had a little bit of a sampling of Battlefield at the very least. I don't know if that's true. Actually, I don't know if Luke's had a go at that, but
have you two played much of it?
Not much. I played some, which is some.
I played the beta.
You played the beta.
Yeah, fair. Okay. I think main take. Have either of you been Battlefield players historically?
So, for me, on the Battlefield series, generally, I always say that I liked 3 and 4, but I never played them much, because my experience on Battlefield is always that I run around a lot, I look at the spectacle, I get impressed, I see things breaking, and then I just get killed in various ways, and I'm terrible at it. And I never engage with them properly to... Like, everyone's flying in planes and using rocket launchers, and I don't want to use those things because I don't want to draw attention to myself. So I'm just running around with the basic weapons, getting killed over and over again, going, wow, this is impressive. But I don't actually like it very much, but it's impressive. This one, it's my favorite Battlefield so far, because it's more impressive than all the rest, just being newer as it is and actually being more modern in a lot of ways. And I am finding it a little easier to be a bit more engaged with it. But I'm still in the same place in that I'm not a big Battlefield player. I'm still mostly just running around dying, going, wow, died again, but wow, that looks cool. So that's my Battlefield experience. What about you, Luke? What's your Battlefield history?
Yeah, somewhat similar. I think I'm a bit more into... I was really into Bad Company, so I really loved that.
That was good.
So that was very good. And then, yeah, Battlefield 3... big fan, played a lot of that, and then kind of like the other ones, I've dabbled in them a bit, but I would say I'm a bigger Battlefield fan than like Call of Duty, but that's not saying like a massive amount, if that makes any sense. You know, I'm kind of a on the fringes Battlefield fan.
Yeah. Okay. So I think 2 key takeaways for me are it is quicker than you might be used to Battlefield 3 or 4 feeling. Some might be okay with that, some might not. It does feel closer, not entirely the same pace as COD, but it's definitely a lot quicker. I'm still undecided about whether or not I'm okay with the pace change, but I do overall. I've had a really good time there. The I've really enjoyed playing that on PC. To be fair, that is partly why I haven't touched my Xbox or my PlayStation much. PC is where I'm playing Battlefield, and
With
it's
a
quite
keyboard
hard
and
to
mouse,
tempt myself
or with a
away.
controller?
I am, yeah, with a keyboard and mouse.
Oh, you're getting there.
I'm really, really enjoying. Yeah. And then I keep a controller plugged in for flying, like helicopters and jets and stuff like that. I haven't had as much of an opportunity to squad up with other people as much as I would have liked to. I mean, there's a number of reasons for that. I'll be honest, for the last couple of weeks, I haven't really been in the headspace to socialize, whether it has been sort of pain management stuff or just stressed about job stuff. But at the same time, the custom built squad experience in Battlefield is great. And when you actually have like a full squad that you're communicating with and they're all playing their roles properly and making the most of the tools that come as part of each class in Battlefield 6, it sings beautifully. I really, really like it. I think as a solo queuer, because again, I've done a lot of solo queuing, whether it's like me having some downtime during the day when the rest of the UK now works, or just again not really feeling that sociable. I find that communicating with your squad without a microphone is quite difficult. So historically, there have been things like you can request an order, or you can like ping an objective to say that you're going there anyway, and then the rest of your team or the rest of your squad can non-verbally go, yeah, I'll go there too. And I think some of those tweaks, like really small quality of life tweaks, this is me like nitpicking Battlefield 6 now. Yeah, maybe I should just use my mic more, but this is
Never,
me. Like,
not on the internet with the strangers. You need to get in the Discord more and say, is anyone playing Battlefield 6? Problem solved.
If I'm going to like have a conversation with strangers on the internet, it's usually via a podcast rather than faceless voice chat. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. Like, generally, really like it.
My Battlefield 6, when I play it at the moment, so I do kind of like it, but I do not like the spawning system in it in most of the modes. For me, at the moment, you go into like conquest and all the rest of it, and there's no directionality to the combat. You go somewhere, there's objectives, but your enemy will just appear like any which way at any point in time, and I don't get along with that very well, because I've never really liked getting shot in the back, but it happens a lot. What are the good modes for you? Because it makes quite a big difference to how it plays out. So what modes do you typically queue for?
I mainly play Conquest. I do like the sort of attack and defend mixture, though. That sort of mixture of breakthrough and rush.
That's the one.
Yeah, mainly Conquest. I also haven't touched campaign at all. Like not even a little bit. No. I literally haven't opened it. No, I have got it installed, and I actually quite like Battlefield campaigns. But I've just jumped straight into multiplayer and sort of not looked back. I do want to check it out though.
Yeah, so it gave me an option of installing it, and I just didn't have that much space at the time, so I said no. I wouldn't mind giving it a go at some point. But yeah, I mostly do the attack and defend modes. I don't like the structurally the unfairness of like one round as an attacker or a defender is never going to be a fair fight, but Battlefield is never a fair fight anyway. So it always feels pretty inconsequential what you're doing. It's always, for me, more about dipping in for the atmosphere. So I accept it. I'll be attacker, I'll be defender, I'll just watch things explode, I'll have a nice time, and at least I know where I'm going and where everything's happening. It's a bit easier for me to manage. And I usually lately I've been playing recon a lot, because the tagging of the enemies just helps me see what the fuck's going on. But I really want to play hardcore mode instead, because I don't actually like the tags. I use them, they're there, and they let me see who I'm shooting, and I'm happy to have that. But hardcore doesn't have that, right? Hardcore is more like you're on your own. You don't have as much of a HUD. You don't have the helpful color flags. I'll be awful at it, but I'll have a good time.
I remember actually liking that quite a lot in Battlefield 3 and 4. I think possibly the only other... It's weird because I want to call it a criticism, but at the same time, I love the destructibility that is in Battlefield 6. But to a certain extent, there are times where I don't feel like it's gone far enough. I've actually just thought of another criticism for multiplayer as well. I'll come back to that. I feel like the destruction is somewhat limited compared to some of the destruction that we saw in Battlefield 3 and 4. Things like the Levolution stuff that we saw in Battlefield 4, where like the map fundamentally changes. Haven't really seen any of that in Battlefield 6 so far, but maybe it's something that comes down at a later date. I know 2042 did something similar, but a lot of people didn't really like it. I think it would be nice to have a few more buildings that could be completely leveled. And then I think the only other gripe that I've had with certain maps on Battlefield, there's one, possibly two, both based in New York, where there are so many buildings where I will go into them only to find that the following door that you see is not openable. And there are all these sort of like weird kind of like dead ends that, I don't know, I sort of feel like they could be ever so slightly less dead-endy. I don't know.
I feel you on the doors because you just don't expect it in a game where everything is otherwise quite free-flowing, and then you get this door that's like, nah, you're not going through here.
Exactly, yeah.
But
yeah.
Counterpoint, those maps have a lot of glass for me to slide through, so I'm still having a nice time. There'll be doors that I can't go through, but there'll be like 7 windows in a row for me to just slalom through, breaking the glass, while everybody else plays properly, so... The important thing is I'm having a nice time. Right, Luke.
That's me.
You said you played loads of games.
Yeah,
Give me some more.
Yeah.
Give me some more.
I'm still playing, and this is kind of the main game now, which I sort of paused for Silent Hill F, but I'm still playing Ghost of Yotei, which I'm about 30 hours in, I'd say, at this point. So yeah, I paused that for Silent Hill F because I was so kind of transfixed by the Silent Hill F story, and then went back to Ghost of Yotei and still really loving that as well. I think probably for main story I'm about maybe 55-60% of the way through, but just still loving it, really enjoying it. You know, it's one of those games that it's just very easy to get distracted on it and go away from the main path.
Tell me about, like, obviously you're telling the game your own way, and that's fine, but I need to ask because you just mentioned those distractions. Are they high caliber distractions, or are you cutting bamboo?
There is bamboo to cut, but it's not like there's not lots of bamboo to cut, right? There's just some. The main kind of things that I'm doing are like there's a lot of bounties in this game, which are really good. Some of them kind of very simplistic, you know, and then others kind of devolve into more significant side quest type stuff, where it's a lot more interesting, and it's not just you know, go here, kill this target. Some of them, for example, you'll get new armor from. I've had one like that, which I've not actually done, but I know that's a quest reward. So that's one of them. And then like there's the bamboo, there's the what else is there? There's like hot springs as well, which are, you know, I think they were in the first game, right? Jin
Spot was famous, yes.
Yeah. And then there's kind of bigger, like there's a lot of bigger side quests, that a lot of which have sort of multiple things to do in them. You'll get like a sort of, this is the side quest and here are 5 or 4 things you need to do in this side quest. And they're like a big variance of objectives essentially. So it's got plenty of like side content. None of it's like revolutionary by any stretch, but just the moment to moment of the game is very enjoyable. So it kind of you kind of want to do more. There's a lot of side quests as well, which are about picking up new weapons, usually in kind of a new area that you'll go to. So, and that's quite important anyway, because they're kind of...
Question. Because the first game then had its stance system, right, which felt fairly optional on the normal difficulty, but it had its rock paper scissors kind of stance system. You fight a certain type of enemy, it would want you to use a certain type of stance and weapon to have an advantage in that encounter. How's that been enhanced or disregarded or changed in general? Like, what's that like in the new one?
Yeah, so that's been changed by weapons, basically. So you don't have stances anymore, but you do have weapons. So you have maybe five main weapons, and they are effective. They are particularly effective against certain other weapons. So if you see enemies that engage with those weapons, you'll change, right?
And
so,
do you actively, like, you're aware of that as something that's conscious as you play that one I need to switch to this weapon for? And
yeah, I mean, you're that's pretty hammered home every time you pick up one of these new weapons. You know, they make you do like a small tutorial of like, if you see an enemy with this weapon, what should you pick? If you see an enemy with this weapon, what else should you pick? So, and then the game, you can disable this, but the game also has like, if you're using a weapon that's very ineffective against another weapon, it will actually tell you. It'll be like, remember, this weapon's shit against this other weapon. So
who tells you? Like a
it's like text. A tutorial. Yeah, like you can turn that off, but it comes up to tell you.
I thought it was going to talk to like the Aloy thing. She's going to tell herself while you're there.
Yeah, no.
Remember, idiot, you're doing it wrong.
Atsu's not saying that as she's wielding a katana, but yeah. So it's just a really enjoyable game. It's terrific audio, visuals are fantastic. It's got amazing HDR, runs 60 FPS, lock solid, and it's really good.
Can you choose to play it with a whole lot of stealth?
You can if you want, or you don't have to. It's a bit like I found it's interesting because I played Tsushima quite stealthily, I think, from memory. And this one, I don't play it as stealthily at all. I'm kind of really into the combat more. And I think it's because, like, Atsu's character, it's not about, like, should she, it's not Jin, right? Like, should she be a samurai or a shinobi, effectively? It's more just, she's a mercenary, so she'll use whatever to win. And, I don't know. I feel like the game maybe leans more into like the wider arsenal of stuff in combat. And so like, even though you can do a lot of stealth things, it doesn't, I don't think it quite suits her character as much, maybe. It's, I think you'd prefer it for that reason, maybe.
I would.
It just gives you a lot more kind of combat options to sort of directly engage with people.
I know the first one kind of like disengages the need to stealth after a little while. So in the opening stages, it's like you have to do this stealthy, and I get really frustrated. And then it's like you get a little bit of a choice, and then it comes to a particular it's not that pivotal in the structure of the game, but in terms of you have to stealth kind of mechanic and tutorial, you get to a mission where it says, right, now you got a choice. You can stealth around like a dickhead, or you can go loud. And I sent my message by unleashing every grenade I had in my inventory immediately. Like, look, loud, only loud. And hopefully that got all the way back to Sucker Punch, and they made the second one louder.
Yeah. There's plenty of fire kunai bombs. You can get a gun in this one as well later in the game. Different arrows. Like there's lots of choices to like go in loud, really. So it doesn't punish you for that at all. You also get a wolf companion and a separate skill tree you can kind of level up for that companion, and it's quite cool because at no point can you actually control when the wolf like comes to you. Like sometimes you do, like in the first game, for example, you could do the standoff where you can kind of like and upgrade that, and then you can maybe kill up to 3 enemies if you time it right. So you can do that in this, and then sometimes you'll do the standoff and suddenly the wolf will just pop up, and then you're kind of doing a standoff with the wolf, and it will like maim an enemy, and then it will just go about and just help you out, and then it'll piss off. So it's like, it's, you do a lot of loud stuff. It's good.
Is this one encroaching on you mentioned Silent Hill F was like maybe a Game of the Year contender. Is this one getting anywhere close to that, or is it just it's all right?
It's getting up there. I don't know where it would stand though. I need to finish it first. I kind of I don't like putting them in a structure until I've finished them. But like I think it's a fantastic game. I don't think it would be in my I don't think it would be my game of the year at this point. But that's only because the competition this year is ridiculous, right?
It's
like,
absolutely insane.
In other years, I think this would be a stronger contender, but like this, when you've got like Expedition and Donkey Kong and, Death Stranding, obviously for me and other games, like it's kind of like the Baldur's Gate 3 year, you know what I mean? Like where there was just like ridiculous, like even, Alan Wake 2 and Tears of the Kingdom or whatever, like all of that stuff. So it's not like number one. I don't think it would be number one for me, but it's a fantastic game in a year of fantastic games.
Well. Joe's just asked, does it feel bloated like the first one? Did you feel you have to kind of preface that. Did you find the first one felt bloated to you? And does the second one feel different?
Yeah, but did the first one feel? But it's been a long time. That's like 5 years since I played the first one, so I'm trying to remember how it felt. I can't remember the first one feeling bloated to me. So this one definitely doesn't. I think it has like it has lots of different side content, but it's nothing like a Ubisoft level of side content. It's very specific and far more sporadic than that is, and as a result, it doesn't feel bloated. It doesn't feel like you need to go and grind or do anything like that. So, yeah, feels quite streamlined. Feels like a Ubisoft Lite game in the best possible way, where they've gone, okay, there's too much there. Like, let's strip a lot of that back and just keep some stuff.
Ah, well, Deadly Headley. Do you have any more that you want to go into?
Yeah, I do actually, because it also sort of relates to something I'm quite proud of as a relatively new PC user. I started playing Keeper this morning. I've got it installed on my Xbox. I also installed it on my PC. I was sat up here this morning and thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. Started it up, and to my absolute horror, it does not by default support ultra-wide displays. So I modded a game for the first time, which was very, very easy and very, very satisfying because it looks way better. So
it's presumably you got it from Game Pass from the Xbox app, right? So what did the mod involve? Because that's not always easy to apply there. What did you have to do for this one?
It was a case of, hold on, let me find the... So I went into the content folder within Keeper, where Keeper is installed, Pagan Idol, binaries, WinGDK, and then pasted some stuff, or extracted a couple of files into that folder. Mm-hmm. So it was a really, really simple thing to do. But what it did was remove the black bars that forced a 16:9 aspect ratio on an ultra-wide monitor. Despite it, you can set to your monitor's native resolution. So we'll go, yeah, I can see you're playing on an ultra-wide monitor, but it will basically impose those black bars on you. I can sort of see why they do it, because when I'm playing in ultra-wide mode, you can definitely tell that the extreme edges they don't always frame the environment with the same level of purpose that you can notice, like within that sort of invisible edge. Mm-hmm. So you can sort of see, like, because I think when have either of you played Keeper?
No.
Played an hour.
Okay, yeah, I played about an hour as well. The camera perspective is pretty locked as you go, so you don't actually move the camera. Your right stick moves the lighthouse light, so you're given effectively a almost fixed perspective as you're playing through. And that was, like I said, I noticed that the negative space where those bars used to be, I don't know. Sometimes the scenery just it doesn't align. Not align. Like you can almost tell as if the camera angles that are being given to you as part of this sort of forced perspective experience are supposed to frame the content in the exact way that they've intended. So there are certain scenes where ultra wide looks really, really lovely, and you get that extra breathing space. There is some where you can just sort of see like there's less content or foliage or whatever on the side of the screen where those bars are, because they're not technically supposed to be visible. Does that make any sense?
It does, yeah, because it's when you got these fixed camera perspectives, it's very curated, isn't it? And it's obviously the game is
exactly
artistically delivered, so you know they're probably quite deliberate about what you can and can't see. Yes, it more or less works most of the time.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, exactly that.
But do you enjoy? Do you enjoy what you played of it?
Well, I have played. Yeah, I do like it. I've heard a lot of people recommend and can attest to this. Play it with headphones because the sound design is really, really nice. I like the story premise that's been set so far. The character, the bird character, called Twig. Thank you. Yeah. I like Twig. And I don't know the name of the lighthouse. I don't know if there is a name of the lighthouse. So far, pretty cool. There was one bit that really made me smile where Twig, the bird, interacts with the lighthouse as part of a very small sort of controlled cutscene, and effectively hints that you have a new ability. But it doesn't tell you. There are no on-screen controls to say, hey, try pushing this thing. The gamer in me just went, fuck it, we'll see what happens when I pull right trigger. And then there's this big smile on my face as the exact thing that I was expecting to happen following that cutscene did happen. So I think this kind of dialogue-less delivery of a sort of visual narrative that you can experience and enjoy is really nice. So I'm looking forward to playing more of it.
I've seen various things where people have been like, I liked Keeper. I got no idea what it was trying to do after having finished it. And it's like, I don't know. That's not that encouraging for me. Like, I need things to be spoon-fed. I don't want to go through a weird trip and be like, I don't know what they're talking about at the end of it. But yeah, there we go. Luke, Ball Pit. Why is there an X there? I'm getting really upset by games that have an X you're not supposed to pronounce. I don't expect you know the answer.
Oh, yeah, happened with Davy Jones as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
Is it just like that name's already been taken? There's already a Ball Pit from the Amiga or something, so they need to just stick a random letter in and pretend like hope no one notices.
Maybe. I don't know. Need to go
Fair enough.
That's canon now.
Ask Kenny Son. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you like Ball Pit though, right? That's another one that you played.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I've been really enjoying it. So like, I saw this back when Devolver did their E3 show, which was I think it was this year, and the only game they featured was this. And I looked at it and I was like, I don't really know about that. Like, I'm not too sure. And then it came there was a demo on Steam Next Fest.
You talked about it after that demo.
Yeah.
You liked it at the time.
And then I was like, oh yeah, this is good. Ignoring everything that you were saying. And,
I hadn't said anything at that point in time, but
but I knew. And then obviously it was announced it was coming to Game Pass, which was really cool. And like for me, I like, this is like the perfect handheld game. Like it's so set up for that sort of experience. And I was really kind of like, I was a bit worried, not worried, because I would have just bought it on Steam so I could play it on the Steam Deck. But obviously, I got the Legion Go 2, and I was like, okay, this is kind of not one of the primary reasons I'm buying it, but certainly will be one of the things I really enjoy in it. And so I've almost exclusively been playing it there, although I have played it a bit in desktop as well. And it's awesome. It's just a really fun experience for me. And it's this loop of like doing a run and then kind of doing your farming stuff is just very addictive. I haven't played it as much as I'd like to. I've only got a couple of hours in it because other things have taken me away. But again, it's a perfect sort of pick up and play game. So yeah, really enjoying it.
Have you tried this one, Deadly Headley?
No, not yet. Is it on Game Pass?
It is.
Yeah. Yep.
No, I haven't. I've seen a little bit of footage. I've seen a lot of people say it's pretty addictive. It feels like the ideal handheld game, which might segue us into a topic we could talk about.
I forgot about topics.
Unless we've got anything coming up.
Sure, you know what? Just take it. Do what you want with it. Take it into that topic.
Yeah, go on then. Are either of you buying it? Do you want it?
What, the Ally?
Either of them? Yeah.
Nah.
No, fair.
Topic complete.
Yeah.
No, so Luke's obviously got a Legion Go, so he's already got like essentially superior hardware and performance-wise the same, but a nicer screen. And the same kind of Windows Xboxy features, more or less. I don't think there's anything that you're missing out on, is there?
Apart from the Xbox button, I guess. No,
you don't even have an Xbox button.
I don't have an Xbox button.
Oh, shocking!
Chuck it in the bin.
Shocking. It's the grips for me are actually probably one of the most appealing features of the either of the ROG Xbox allies. Actually, I think I've not used a gaming handheld, but I think when I think about like holding my phone like this, each like one hand each side for audio listeners into landscape mode, and I think about how like not ergonomic this experience is. Same with like trying to play something on a tablet or something like that. I haven't used the Steam Deck. I haven't used the original Ally. I haven't used like either of the Legion Go devices or anything like that. But I like the look of the ergonomic sort of controller-y led handles. How do you find the Legion in terms of player comfort, Luke?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty comfortable. I think the ROG Xbox Ally X.
Yeah.
Which way
Nailed
around?
it.
Yeah,
just call it Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Xbox handheld. Ruffle a few feathers, that one. That does look more ergonomic than the Legion Go 2. I don't know if it is because I haven't handled it. But the Legion Go 2, it has a similar sort of contorted grip back, but it's not as sort of the Xbox One has those. It juts out, right? The handheld,
they're
like
proper
the
controller grips,
proper jut out. So the Legion Go 2 is not like that. It's I find it comfortable anyway. It's kind of on the same comfort level, I would say, as a Steam Deck, but the only primary difference is it's much heavier. So I think you just have to be prepared for that. But like, a lot of the time I'll hold it. Sometimes obviously it has a really good kickstand, so you can always kick it back. And the good thing about the Legion Go 2, I would say, is what the original had, is you can detach the controllers like a switch.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Not smoothly, but you can do it. So if you're ever kind of getting a bit tired, you can just kind of plop it down somewhere and take those off and do stuff like that. So, but I do think the Xbox One is probably more comfortable to hold over a sustained period of time. But with a lot of these, that none of them are like, it's all trade-offs, right? And for me, it was just the screen on the Legion Go 2 is just so much better. So that was the main thing that I'm happy to sacrifice some ergonomics for that. Yeah.
I think generally seems to have reviewed quite well, been received quite well. There's this whole sort of quotes discourse about whether it is or is not an Xbox. It's sort of somewhere in between. I think. I don't know. I think my take on the whole is it an Xbox thing is by Xbox's definition, yes. By Xbox console users' definition, I think that ultimately depends on how you're currently using your ecosystem and what you're getting out of it. You can obviously do things like remote play and cloud play. It's not ideal. It's obviously not the same as native, but you can experience those things that are available on your console elsewhere. And obviously, all of the stuff going forward, things like Game Pass, all of the Xbox-y, ecosystem-y stuff that it is delivering, obviously also is moving forward with it. I want one. I do want one. I do want to buy one. I'm going to wait until something actually firms up work-wise, but I have an amount of money, like, burning quite a loud hole in my pocket. Just go, fuck it, pull the trigger, Deadly.
Is there like a particular circumstance? Do you currently play games on your phone at all?
I used to use a Backbone, but I changed my phone, and with it I upgraded my phone so it doesn't use the Lightning port anymore. It uses USB-C, and I don't want to buy a USB-C Backbone. There are points where I find myself wanting to play on a handheld, either because somebody else is using the TV or I don't want to sit on my PC. And I can see that becoming more of a thing, certainly with a kid on the way as well.
What you need is a VR headset. There's a couple of new ones of them kicking about as well. Hopefully some more come in, so maybe that'll be a more realistic proposition at some point, better conversation at some point. But for some reason, the one that came out this week, the Samsung one, you can't get over in the UK, so I've got nothing to say about it. It's quite upsetting. I don't know, that's the handheld. So actually, question for you, Deadly, because you're obviously you do some reviews and things for Xbox Era and things like that as well, which is obviously a corner of the internet where you have to quite like Xbox to be involved. Is discourse over there generally positive around these devices, or?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think I haven't stayed on top with making content with Xbox Era for a little while, to be fair, but I think generally John Sim's pretty happy with it. I think Nick is also getting sent a review unit as well, so I'm interested, or has been sent a review unit, so I'm interested to see what he has to say on the show tonight as well. I have seen Doc Dark has been really happy with his. I think generally, actually, this sort of spins into another topic, the whole sort of PC console and sort of hybrid future that we're looking at. In the same week that I also modded something on my PC for the first time, I also had a sort of PC hiccup that kind of stressed me out quite a lot and was not fun to deal with. And that's obviously a side of PC gaming and using PC that I think console players in particular. Go on.
I'm gonna expand on this a little bit because I've also had one that's also relevant, and it's relevant because recently there's been lots of talk around whether Xbox will actually get around to releasing more hardware or not. They've come out this week and recommitted to it, but specifically they said that they're considering their next console, the Ally handhelds and the kind of PC hybrid thing is an indication of where they're going, which was already a thing we kind of knew, but they've reiterated it. Said this is what the future console is going to look like, and it's going to be expensive. They're aiming premium quite specifically, kind of pulling themselves out of competing directly with the PlayStation 6 and whatever for a price point from what we know of it, but saying it is coming. It is going to be this thing.
We will see a cheaper device too. I can see like a Series S successor coming, but go on.
What was your specific PC issue this week?
Okay, so you'll laugh about this a little bit. I can laugh about it, but at the time I was not laughing because it was very late at night and I just was forced to give up at that point. So my Wi-Fi stopped working on my computer. It happened when I sort of woke it from sleep. And actually, I think that there may have been a Windows update that has possibly contributed to that in terms of reconfiguring power management settings and how power is sent and maintained to your Wi-Fi antenna when your PC is sleeping. I think some of those power management settings might have been sort of reset or adjusted as part of a Windows update. Anyway, the Wi-Fi on my PC stopped working, which is not ideal because setting up or getting an Ethernet cable plugged in is just a little bit awkward and a bit of a pain in this room. It's not impossible, but it's just a bit of a faff. And at 10:30 at night, which is when I started trying to fix this thing, because again, this PC next to me is not only a gaming rig, it is now the thing that I am running a freelance business on until I find new work. So I need it to be reliable. I need to be able to do client work on it. Internet stopped working. I tried updating the drivers for my Wi-Fi antenna, and it sort of solved the problem, but then presented a different one instead in that it couldn't be recognized. At that point, I actually thought, right, let's try and find the serial number for the motherboard, because my Wi-Fi antenna came with my motherboard. Because I figured, worst case scenario, if there is an issue with that, I can make a warranty claim on it. It's only a few months old anyway. So we'll go down that route. This is the bit that might make you laugh, because this was actually the part where I properly fucked up. I had to unplug some bits from my motherboard in order to be able to get the special part, the serial number that they hide on the motherboard itself, so that you can't just steal it from the box, and then failed to correctly plug back in one of the power cables, meaning that without me knowing or understanding why my PC didn't turn back on, which really sucked, I had to ask my cousin for help. He helped me build it, and he got it on within like minutes, which was quite embarrassing for me. The thing that he did to actually fix it, and I didn't think of this issue, but the fix was to update the firmware on the motherboard, which makes perfect sense, because if it's not the drivers for the antenna, it's probably something to do with the firmware that those antennas are connected to. So all sorted, all good, happy days. I understand the concern from console players, and I include me in that, having to deal with some fucking bullshit on a PC that I rely on for the first time. It's not fun. It's not nice. You don't want that in a console environment on a machine that is designed to play games on in your living room, especially if that is going to deliver some sort of like hybrid Windows experience. I would trust, and it's very difficult to put trust and Xbox / Microsoft in
I was wondering
if
that's where you were going with this. Oh, wild man. Carry on.
I would trust that if Xbox, because they have confirmed that they are... I really appreciate all the problem-solving suggestions in the chat, by the way. It's all good. It is all sorted, but thank you. I do, do appreciate it. Don't worry. It's done. It's fine. But thank you, guys. I would trust and I would expect that if Microsoft Xbox has confirmed that it is making its own first-party box again, everything that goes into that box and everything that is managed as part of that box, including things like firmware updates, etc., should all be managed by Xbox itself, and it should be a pretty clean, swift system update in theory. But Windows is Windows, and that's where some of the concern, some of the rub lies. It's going to be really interesting to see how well it's executed. I still, despite having issues with my PC this week, remain incredibly excited for what that proposition is, because I'm getting quite sick of walled gardens, to be honest.
Have either of you played Ninja Gaiden 4?
Not yet.
Yes. I played 30 minutes. So
See, I've played 28 minutes.
Oh.
That's troubleshooting, trying to get the thing to launch, which it won't. I've not got into the game. It gives me the title screen, gives me the character without him being properly rendered, and I go into the story, select the difficulty, and then it just locks the PC entirely and goes, nah, you're rebooting now, or you're never touching your PC again. I can't play Halo Infinite. If I try and launch Halo Infinite, it just, nothing happens. I quite frequently have Xbox saying it's discovered games that I've tried to uninstall, and they just don't work, right? And people say, your PC setup is complicated. My PC is so fucking clean. It's the closest thing to a console, because I've got two PCs. I've got a complicated, messy PC that I stream from, and I've got a PC that was built clean purely for playing games and kept as clean as possible for playing games, and it's a fucking ball ache sometimes. I love PC gaming, don't get me wrong. I got an expensive PC and it plays games very nicely, but there are issues that you run into, and people that deny them are pulling your leg, because like everybody has some issues with a PC that you would not traditionally expect to get from like a Nintendo under your TV or whatever. Consoles aren't perfect, games can crash on a console, things can go wrong, but a more open system is going to have issues. So Microsoft's obviously aren't necessarily delivering an open system, but there's all this talk that they're also going to work with OEM partners and deliver more and more things that are an Xbox. Like you've got these Ally handhelds, you've got their own first party bit of hardware, you've got an option coming from Lenovo or whatever else. I don't have much confidence that it's going to deliver that console feel.
Yeah, and that neatly brings us back to like why I've raised these issues, because there is tinkering to be done on these Windows handhelds as well. Like, again, I think it's really important for any consumer, any Xbox fan, anybody thinking about what they want to do next in terms of where they want to play, how they want to play, how else they want to enhance their overall relationship and life with gaming. And in this sort of world where there is this competition for time, like, where do you want to spend more of your time? Me personally, I don't mind tinkering. I don't love it when I can't solve the problem, as per the story I've just told with having to message my cousin at what was about 25 to 2 in the morning, and I had to be in London to do some photography I had to get the 9 o'clock train. So I was staring down the barrel of like 5.5 hours sleep and a not working PC on Thursday night / Friday morning, which, like, it's not great. I don't blame any console user who has never used PC and until now has not really had any desire to, until we sort of start talking about what Microsoft is offering. It's a difficult one, and you're either gonna be okay with tinkering a little bit, or you're not. And I think when we talk about like the sustainability of the Xbox brand and its position as a console maker, it is presenting a lot of, not difficult, but, and you could argue these are synonyms, but challenging is a much more positively flavored word than difficult. Challenging choices and circumstances that players are going to have to make. With the ROG Ally being out, with Xbox sort of doubling down on this direction, how do you see it playing out, and what are your major concerns, if any?
When I look,
there will be some as Xbox. So
of course, yeah. There's a few little things that are kind of complicated on it, because what they're talking about delivering is a PC, and I have a PC. For me, I've always said around exclusives and stuff, I don't necessarily like the concept of an exclusive, and an exclusive being a reason to buy a piece of hardware if that hardware is otherwise redundant. Like, I didn't like that the PS5 and the Xbox Series were so similar, and the PS4 and the Xbox One were so similar. If they're going to play the same, like, it's the same hardware, I don't need to own 2 copies of it just to get exclusive
quite
games.
a few people like get upset with me on Twitter today for saying something similar about the PlayStation, and it's just it's frustrating. Not like idiots on Twitter getting upset at me, like, do what you fucking want, but it's me having to have a PS5 to play a select number of games is more of an inconvenience for me than anything else, because that system barely gets used. It isn't necessarily a thing that I will dip in and out of very often, because the environment where I play the rest of my games isn't there. And going into next generation, looking at what you can expect a PS6 to cost based on like where the PS5 Pro is priced now, for example, it's getting harder and harder for regular consumers, like people who are far less enthusiastic about gaming than us, but still are considering or in a position to consider spending money on 2 systems. It's becoming a less attractive or less attainable prospect. And I get why brands or publishers would like exclusivity, because it drives people to their ecosystem. But exclusivity as a consumer is really shit. And
Sometimes I always have to, because I'm obviously quite enthusiastic about VR as well, right? So I'm very aware from watching that industry and how it bubbles and doesn't, that when you are trying to establish an ecosystem, when you are a platform holder and you are trying to release a bit of hardware, a platform, a new ecosystem, then suddenly it makes a lot more sense. It's negligent not to do it at some point.
You need people to get you in there.
To put money
you do
in,
need that content
to build
driver.
that ecosystem to make it make sense for the third parties. The thing that I was just saying about Xbox is if they're going to deliver a PC and call it an Xbox, that's fine. I probably won't buy one, right? There's literally no reason for me to buy one. And for me, that's saving me £700-800, whatever they're going to charge for it, right? So as consumer person that I am, that's not necessarily a bad thing. From Microsoft's perspective, they're going to have to push pretty hard to convince me that this bit of hardware is worth it for Lost Odyssey or like the legacy catalog, you know? I don't know what this thing is going to be and why I would want it and what they're going to do with gold.
I don't think that the key selling point of it is just that it's a PC. I think it obviously there's the fact that it is supposed to be able to do all of the Xbox back compat stuff as well. And again, like when I think about me, the Xbox user, me, the PC user, I think about how convenient that's going to be to have everything that, in theory, we're hoping that everything on my Series X is going to be playable on this next machine, plus everything that I can play on my PC. I think the appeal for that device isn't the fact that it's a more open platform. Obviously, that's part of it. It's the fact that it's designed for a living room environment. So when we look at the ROG Ally, we look at how that is a PC, but the UX UI layer that you've got in there is designed to feel like more of a streamlined, more mobile experience than your traditional
with mixed
desktop.
Success from what we hear, but
with mixed success, that's the thing. The mixed success is the issue, and that, like, we're used to seeing mixed success with Xbox. That's fine. That's run of the mill for that brand, but that execution for a machine that does all of those things in a living room, in a console designed for the living room that can only be operated with a controller, with very, very little need, if any need, for a mouse and keyboard. Because again, thinking about the console players, the console loyalists, the people who still want Xbox hardware in their living room, and again, I include me as part of that. I want more Xbox hardware. I like Xbox hardware. That's why I still buy it. That's why I still use it. There's a lot of, like I said, challenges that are being posed for a user to consider. And I think hopefully those challenges will actually be easier to navigate and to explore and sort of judge based on how Xbox manages to hopefully stick this landing with that sort of unified console experience and it feeling like both a console and a PC at the same time. Luke, I'm conscious you haven't spoke much on this topic. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I specifically.
Sorry,
Luke, for you. No, I was going to go to Luke anyway. That's absolutely fine. Because look, you obviously you own most things, right? You've got a little bit of your disposable income. You got every console and bit of hardware going that you can get your hands on. So I'm assuming you're probably quite likely to get whatever Xbox do next, regardless of whether it offers anything or not. No, shaking your head. What does it need to deliver for you to be interested in it? Like, how is it going to? Does it need to differentiate from PC in some way?
I don't think it could do anything for me. Not because it might not be good or anything like that, but I've kind of solved my living room thing, which is I have a PC rig in there. So I have that, and my the PC that's in there is going to be way more powerful than the Magnus. So there's nothing for me that they could do to kind of interest me in that device.
And is that a
But
problem?
No, not. I don't think so, because I think it's a very interesting approach that they're going for, and I don't know how successful ultimately it will be, but I don't know what success looks like for them in terms of hardware next generation. It looks like the intention is they just want some hardware in the market, something by them, and maybe some OEM versions as well. And I think the ultimate aim really is to kind of homogenize their Xbox PC offering so that effectively people are on PC, which sounds a bit counterintuitive, and it's quite difficult for them because they've got millions of Game Pass subscribers that are just on console. But I think they know that, like, a lot of those people will, like, I don't know if they will come over for this device, in the sense of this may be a very different device than they used to, and also it will cost a lot of money, and there'll be options, right? So it's not as if it will be the only one, but it's just an interesting strategy from them.
I wonder if they're actually expecting a lot of their user base to actually stay on Xbox Series for a bit.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
there's still a shitload of Xbox Ones out there, and it's only now. And he even saw discourse about Halo not being on Xbox One anymore, but I think it's a good thing. Like, I mean, I get why Infinite was on Xbox One, but I wonder if it would have been a lot more performant and actually a much more compelling game if they just let it cook and kept it on this gen. I don't know. There's rumors that Call of Duty is only now finally going to move away from Xbox One next year, and obviously we've got GTA 6 coming out as well. I think moving hardware this year, this generation, for both Sony and Xbox, it's not played out the way generations usually do. And I think that sort of hangover of the amount of users on sort of the older iterations of that platform, I wonder if with Xbox specifically, again, looking at this Play Anywhere, let's say hypothetically, and I'd believe it if it was true, that the next machine from Xbox is sort of the last machine that they make themselves. I wonder if, any content that is going to be published on Series X and S and Play Anywhere and PC, like, that's your ecosystem. It basically, that sort of content pipeline of here's where we're going to deliver stuff, it's almost sort of peaked. Which, again, I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. Like, objectively, I actually think the Series X and S are still really good machines. And again, when we look at just how much more they've gone up in price and how expensive they are and how people's wallets are still getting squeezed, I think, I don't know, like I've said before, I always try and think about the casual user. I always try and separate myself from the hardcore bubble, because we're not the only people that matter when we talk about this stuff.
I mean, for a casual user, I think it's going to be a very tough sell, I think, for those. I mean, if let's say they only launch with the Magnus model, right, from Microsoft, it will be incredibly, in a console context, expensive. So it's going to be quite difficult for them to move, to get any kind of movement on casuals. Obviously, people who want Xbox hardware will, well, not everyone, but they will be kind of number one customers, right? They'll be willing to spend that premium. It's just I really, like, there's so much we don't know about it in terms of like, and you like, I think Sarah Bond the other day said, the Rogue Ally is kind of like a hint, kind of the first step at, like, this is kind of the direction they're going in, which is just PC basically, but with a more unified console-esque UI. But I mean, the big questions for me are, and I still don't know the answers to this, and I'm really, like, when you buy a game on Magnus, like, let's say you buy it from the Xbox store, is that just the PC SKU next gen? Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
And
I wondered that earlier. Yeah.
What does that do for like optimization of games. You know, like you're effectively in a position where, like, I'm sure first party developers, for example, are going to optimize specifically for the Magnus SKU, but everybody else, do they just, you know, just do some QA on it and go, yeah, it looks good? Do they like build in a recommended, like a
Steam Deck recommended thing,
like a Steam Deck, like stuff like that? Like, how does that work? And if so, it kind of has to be as expensive and as powerful as you can get, really, because you might need to brute force some of these things if you're not, you know, you're not coding to the metal. So that's a big question for me. And then I guess the other one is just, I think there's so much work to do on the Xbox UI front for the full screen experience, right? I'm using it on the Legion Go 2, and it's a start, and it's a decent enough start, but in terms of replicating a proper end-to-end console experience, it's so far away from that at the moment. And people are I expect it to improve significantly, but if it didn't, people would be in for a big shock moving to it if they were console-only gamers.
I think there's talk of this sort of full screen experience almost being like a beta test for what their living room environment is going to look like. And again, like I really hope they pull it off, because that living room box, for me, the Xbox console user, for me, the PC user, it sounds brilliant. And it's something that, and actually the power side of it as well. Again, really excited about it. I think, look, I'm actually curious as to what PC you've actually got running in your living room.
It's a 4090.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so it's not going to
spare parts trash PC.
Yeah.
And then have you done anything? So shout out to Everborn Saga from the Gaming Circle podcast with Kay Asante. He's talked a lot about the console experience gamer, and he's got like a PC set up hooked up to a TV. The entire thing is operated with a controller and controller only. Is that something that you've done yourself with your sort of living room rig, or how do you engage with it?
Yeah, no, it's something I thought about, and I think it's a great option for people who really dislike the PC UI experience. Like, they don't want a keyboard and mouse it; they want it to be like a console thing. But I've got a keyboard and mouse in there, so I use it like on just a massive screen, like Windows desktop. So, like, and I have a one of those lap things for keyboard and mice. So so that's how I use it. But there's all sorts of, I've seen Everborn's stuff on it, right? And there's plenty of stuff you can do to get it like that. And it will be interesting when they introduce I guess the proper full end Xbox full screen experience, because you're better to use that on any PC then. So it might be interesting if it's in a good position to do it, because at the minute, like it does, like, you can get that experience of boot into the interface from what it is now. I do that on the Legion Go 2, right? All that comes up is your sign in for Windows, and then as soon as you're past that, it immediately launches into the full screen experience. So I think that will be cool for people as well who just have normal PC, like not Xbox PCs, just normal PCs.
And I guess the other side of this strategy that's probably worth talking about is actually the fact that, like, PC seems to be growing. It seems it is growing so much quicker and so much more aggressively than the console market is. And I think it's interesting that we've asked
tell me
this
more about
question.
that. Let me just, what are you talking about? Tell me what you're pulling. What's growing?
I think the PC market generally, like, the PC is seeing more and more gamers, more and more users, and it is growing faster than the console market, the group of console users overall.
Disputing what you say per se. I'm just wondering what you've seen, because I don't actually have a clue what's going on in PC space. Numbers get quite distorted by the fact that PC is obviously so broad that you've got a lot of people encompassed in some numbers.
So I haven't seen like anything that sort of firms that up. I think I'm going off.
Okay, so
the fact that a younger audience
might be a good example, right? I think I think Capcom, of all the big publishers, if you were looking for like growth in the PC space, I'm not sure because I don't have the numbers to hand and I don't typically pay that much attention to numbers, but I think their PC numbers have been very strong over the last couple of years, which would kind of back up what you're saying. So I'm not disputing. I was just wondering if you had a particular like strain of growth.
I don't.
It was
I think
what kind of people it was, you know.
I think I'm specifically thinking about this sector of users that we're told about, this sort of younger audience that doesn't mind gaming on things like mobile and tablet, and also is more interested in things like PC. So I did this photography for my dad in London yesterday. My little sister was playing like a tower climb game on Roblox. She was actually quite good at it. It was quite fun just watching her play that. She's playing on a tablet, like touchscreen controls and everything, which is like a nightmare. Like I just think it's horrible, but you know. People do what they want to do. No, I think I'm thinking about that kind of that cohort of players that we hear about with sort of, again, younger audiences being more interested in things like PC versus buying into specific console brands, whatever. That seems to be a common trend that I hear when I hear about people talk about their kids in gaming, especially in the podcast space, things like that. I think there are new attitudes and outlooks towards gaming platforms of every stripe that probably differ from people in our age bracket. And I don't know what Microsoft knows about that cohort. I don't know if Microsoft is fully expecting Gen Z, Gen Alpha to go, yeah, fuck it, we're going to buy these hybrid console PCs because they apparently let us play all of our PC content, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It might work. It might not.
I don't think that the new premiumly priced Super Xbox is supposed to be for those people, but the reason that I ask about it is Microsoft had obviously their fiscal stuff and they had some stuff about Xbox in it. We've had Bloomberg reporting on this margin that they're being demanded and all the rest of it. But the thing that stood out in the fiscal results, it was the first kind of like semi-successful Xbox One pretty much ever, as far as I know, because they actually hit a target for once. But the blurb that they had about it on what Xbox is had lots of mention of where they're going in terms of other platforms and meeting people where they are. But they referenced a number that always worries me, and they said they're meeting the billions of gamers. And whenever they say that, it just makes me like gets my back up, because there probably are billions of gamers and they're not people that consume content that I care about. When you look at the conversations you typically have, like, oh, there's only 100 million, maybe 200 million people that have any interest in a console. Okay, that's just consoles, but that's like an equivalent number for me of people that are interested in the kinds of content that I like. That number of people, yeah, there's like a weird overlap with PC. There might be like the same number again, I don't know, but it's a very small subset of billions of gamers that are interested in content that I like. And I don't like it when Microsoft are highlighting their fiscal stuff or whatever that they want to target these other people that I don't care for. Because it's a different kind of content and I have no interest in them investing in that direction. And that's obviously very selfish, my perspective. They're probably doing exactly the right thing for giant corporation that needs to hit 30% margins and find all of these people. But I want them to give me games that I personally want to play. And whenever I see like giant corporation owns lots of IP that I like, lots of companies that I like, loads of development talent that I like, and is looking at billions of gamers, it makes me go, no, don't waste all those people. Don't waste all that IP. Don't waste all that talent. Make stuff for me.
Cater to me.
yeah, but that's what I want from them, right? Yeah. Anyway, that's why I was asking where you were going with the PC thing. I was just curious. Let's talk about really briefly, because I can't do any more numbers and fiscal stuff. Let's talk about Halo, and then we'll get on to our questions. So this week, yesterday, I think, we saw a Halo campaign evolved. Luke,
what do we think?
You love Resident Evil 6. What did you think of Halo Campaign Evolved?
Don't attribute things to me that aren't true. I do love Halo. I will start by saying only Xbox could leak their announcement that they were making at the same time. Because they actually tethered. So they did the. They said the announcement was going to be at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Pacific. One of the two.
It was supposed to be 1, yeah.
and then they tethered the reveal to an esports match that was going on, which ran way over time.
Yeah.
And then I think it might have been literally like 30 to 40 minutes after 1 p.m. that they finally, did their reveal on stream. Except in the interim, they published the store page listing on Xbox with screenshots and the trailer. And then I think they actually tweeted before they made the announcement. So
the reveal content actually went live on Halo's YouTube channel as well, which is how I watched it.
I think I'd watched like the full Silent Cartographer gameplay walkthrough before they even.
I'd sat there during the fucking community showcase where it's just like blaring music and like showing off Halo community stuff, and I'm just sat there thinking, like,
I was
when
like,
the hell is this happening?
Yeah.
It's really annoying.
It was really annoying. So not the best way to reveal the game.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, they did. I think it looks great. Obviously, like I've said like a million times my experience with Halo. I'm a huge fan of the franchise. I've consumed those games so many times. It was the first game I got with my Xbox. It's still probably like one of the greatest games I've ever played. So I have a very kind of personal experience with it, as I'm sure a lot of Xbox gamers do as well. So, this, it looks really, really nice. I thought, I know there's a lot of nitpicking about Halo. There's a lot of kind of, people want to see very particular things and they don't like other things that have been introduced to the franchise and blah, 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 blah. But it's at this point, I think like Halo Studios are kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't. They're going to catch flack no matter what. So I think what, the vision they've chosen for this in terms of it's a kind of full remake, but not quite. Like they're kind of remixing some elements of it. They're adding weapons. There'll be kind of revisions to the Flood in this. They've got these 3 prequel missions. They're kind of making certain levels a bit bigger than they were and changing them a little bit. And then obviously, the controversial one is they're introducing Sprint into this, which I'm kind of indifferent to. You can turn it off, they've said, if you want. So if you want to preserve the kind of original feel as far as you can do in UE5, then you can.
I like that they've given that option. I'm very pro Sprint. Cool. But I like that they've gone, fuck it, there's this rabid fan base that's just going to shit themselves anyway, so we'll give them the option.
Give them the option, it's fine. And then in terms of what they showed, obviously showed the Silent Cartographer level, which is, it's really wild seeing that actually, because it looks like it looked amazing back in the day, but it looks so mundane and kind of flat now. To see it, it's one of those classic examples of you're like, well, it always looked like that. That's how it looks. I remember that. And of course it doesn't, because your mind filled in a lot of the empty texture space. So I think it looks visually very impressive. It's using UE5 features. There was stutter, happy days. So that's going to be there. There'll be traversal stutter. They won't get rid of that. I think it'll be interesting to see the PC version. All they showed was the Series X version, which is presumably using software Lumen, but on PC you'll be able to activate hardware Lumen, hopefully, or you'll certainly be able to mod it in. So that will make it look even better. The only things I didn't like about it were maybe some of the art direction choices. And the main one was the Forerunner structure stuff, because I don't like it. I'm not clear as to what the intent of those structures in terms of design were back in the day for Bungie. So I could be completely wrong, but I always remember them as trying to be sort of dilapidated, because it's the first time you're landing on this structure for a long, long time. And they're supposed to be a bit run down, I think. I could be wrong, and in this, they were, they're shiny, they're very UE looking. They're very like, they were built yesterday. And I don't know what that, like the atmosphere is sort of changed by that design choice, by that art direction choice. It's not like the end of the world. I'm not going to cry about it, but it's just, I could be completely wrong. And it might be just that back in the day they just couldn't replicate the kind of artistic vision they actually wanted. So what we got is what we got. But yeah, it's just a little bit different. But like I'm really looking forward to playing this again. It'll be interesting to see how they do certain levels, like the library level later on, which is fucking boring. Do they change it?
Mm-hmm.
Do they mix it up a bit more? I'm not sure. Yeah,
so
that's good for me.
It's interesting though that you mentioned the thing that you pulled up was like the intent of Bungie when they made it the first time around. There's been a couple of one in particular, but I think two developers of the original that have quibbles with the new one. Particularly, there was one of the gameplay designers who was quite upset that it lets you take a warthog through to where the hunter encounter is. Right?
Hunters, yeah.
Yeah. And he also mentioned that they put trees on the landing of what he referred to as the woohoo jump. Like there's a warthog jump that they obviously enjoyed when they were designing the game, and specifically had a clear landing zone because that was the woohoo jump to them. And it kind of, what stands out about that is that I'm sure these people were available to talk to, and it's a shame that they didn't speak to the original guys that were involved to say what was the intent here, or are we doing this right? It seems feedback from that team, maybe there are some people involved from the original and I'm completely blind to it, maybe just not these specific people, maybe there's good reason for it, maybe they've Marty O'Donnell or something, I don't know, but it's a shame to see the original ones go, our intent has been lost or misplaced along the way here. Besides that though, I'm not that much a purist. I love the first Halo. It's my favorite of the Halo games, the first one, so to see another remake of this, I'm quite happy. It looks mostly really good, and I'll be happy to play through it again. Does it have the original health system? I'd be really upset if they changed that.
No, they have changed
what
that.
Mate? Okay, I have to take back everything that I said. Fuck this game.
Yeah, totally.
There's one change that I noticed. I don't know if it was highlighted on purpose, but there's basically a point where I think a grenade goes off and it sort of pushes the warthog into whoever's playing Chief. In the old game, that would have taken you the fuck out. No ifs, no buts, dead. And that didn't happen, and I'm quite happy about that because I actually don't like the physics around the warthog and that it hits your toe and you're dead. No, I didn't.
You can't. It's sacrilege to downplay the original Halo's physics. You can't do that.
Fuck it. It is what it is. And sprint supremacy for the win. I am actually making a video. It's not really about the changes to Halo, but it does acknowledge that sprint is awesome.
Fair. What else have you got on Halo? So obviously it's coming to PlayStation. It's quite the biggest surprise about it, because there's always talk about what games are and aren't going to PlayStation, and Halo is obviously the most sacred of Xbox IPs. And there was generally, can't generalize, it's stupid to do so, but there was kind of an understanding that it was most likely a multiplayer game. If they were going to bridge that gap, if they were going to bring Halo to PlayStation, you'd start multiplayer where it makes sense for a service rather than do what is the Xbox fans' most precious of games. But it's not. It's there. It's indicative of their strategy going forwards. I am not upset because I'm not that person.
You're an adult. You're an actual adult.
Was anyone surprised though? There's a lot of people that have said a lot of things over the last 3 to 5 years made to look a little bit silly, but they already look silly to me, so that's fine.
No.
No, this wasn't a surprise. I actually think it was a pretty poorly kept secret. Microsoft have been pretty clear in terms of saying things like no red lines, etc. I maintain that it is a good thing that Halo is being introduced to other users.
The hunters can survive a shot to the back. What is this? They're weak to the back, clearly, but come on now. Signature.
There was one little detail that I did quite like. When the hunters are dead, they the worms, the
worms,
go low, they
yeah.
move, which I thought was quite cool.
Yeah.
So there's definitely questions around whether or not Halo on Xbox is good or bad for Xbox. I think there's arguments to be made for both. I think it's good for Halo, and I think the Halo fan in me cares a hell of a lot more about Halo being healthy than the Xbox fan does care about exclusivity going away. In fact, the exclusivity thing sort of means very little at this point, because partly because it's gone, but also it's a bit tedious.
I'm more, and probably quite disproportionately, more upset by the sights on the pistol than by the PlayStation version of the game. These upset me because this is not an effective sighting.
Yeah. There's another one that I've seen. Go on, Luke. I'll let you go first.
The only weapon design I really hated in this one was the needler. Because
that's what I was going to say.
Ammo counter on the needler, like
the needles are your ammo counter.
Like,
look at them, they're massive.
Like, it's the Covenant smoking crack when they designed that. Like, it's the most redundant design I've ever seen. Yeah. Like what were Halo Studios doing when they did that? Like, I know, like, attention spans have dropped. Like,
its accessibility gone mad.
Yeah. Do you know what?
It was just
That's upset people for other reasons as well, because yes, it's got a redundant ammo count that people were upset about when it appeared in whatever game it appeared in. But that's the other thing people are upset about with the needler, is it is the wrong needler for the time period. It's a needler that shouldn't exist here, and that's the kind of detail where it's like, you'd appreciate it if they had that reverence for it. Like, it's minor to me. I wouldn't have noticed. I would have played quite happily. Needler, it's a needler. It's the needler. I'm going to needle stuff. It's going to explode. It's going to be cool. But to see other people notice and be like, that's the wrong needler. That didn't exist in that period of the game. Like, it's actually a bit sad that they got that wrong.
You can pick up energy swords from elites now, which is quite cool, because you could never do that in the first one. That was it was Halo 2 onwards. You had energy swords, so that's quite nice. What else was there? The 3 prequel missions with Chief and Johnson. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that's quite interesting.
That's music to my ears.
Yeah. I think
that's got to be I would imagine almost an hour and a half's worth of content.
Yeah,
but just wasn't there.
Yeah,
that's going to be cool.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Also seeing it's quite a difficult thing to do, actually, because they've kind of got to make it kind of fit within the game design of Combat Evolved. Like, it can't be something that's like huge scope and like
feels like it's from an actually different game.
And then you go to like Combat Evolved, you're like, oh, it's a bit narrow by comparison, isn't it? So they've kind of got it. Like, it's a tough. I commend them for doing that, because it's great that they're doing extra single player content, like brand new, and they've deliberately chosen outside of Combat Evolved as a prequel. I saw someone online that said something like they were outraged because they were like, this, we all know the prequel was like Reach, and it's like, yeah, but like you can have content that comes after Reach and between Combat. Like, it's not like a
time didn't start on Reach.
It didn't stop when Reach was glassed and then picked up like here. It's just like the most ridiculous critique I've ever seen. I don't know. I mean, I think it was the PlayStation one's interesting because like it wasn't a surprise, or it was. I think it's still, and Gears did this as well. I don't know if this did it for you, Deadly or Acer, but like it's still kind of surreal seeing it like it on PlayStation, because it's just something that 20 years ago you just never expected, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like it is. If someone had told you that this was going to happen 20 years ago, you would have just laughed at them. Like it just didn't seem within the realms of reality.
I'm still not entirely
that would actually happen.
I'm not entirely over Sonic and Mario at the Olympics, so this is another trauma. Like, this isn't right. What do you mean?
But like, one thing I will say, and I agree with you, Deadly. Like, this Halo needs more audience.
Yeah,
because and I know Halo superfans sometimes find this difficult to accept, but Halo's not a big franchise anymore. Like, it hasn't been for a long time, and you know, it's not the jewel of Xbox that it once was, as in its
No.
value to Xbox is nowhere near the same that it was back in
The thing is,
2 or 3 days.
And it will never get back
not
there.
the jewel of
Yeah,
dog
not
shit
the
house
jewel of
system.
Xbox part, but I agree with you that it has always been like the crown jewel of Xbox. But I unfortunately agree with you that it is not as big as it used to be, and I really, really wish that it was. I love Halo, and I really want it to be healthy. I really want it to have this big multiplayer resurgence, because which is why I'm hopeful that we get a good multiplat Halo game, like Halo multiplayer game soon. I'm hoping that we actually see Halo Infinite's free-to-play port get shadow dropped on PlayStation at some point, because I think that alone would do wonders for Infinite's player.
I think they've killed it.
I think they've taken Infinite out back, I think.
Yeah, they have.
You know.
Yeah, so it's not going to happen.
But it sounds
I
like
hope
they're
we see
working on
something
a multiplayer, a separate multiplayer project, which
Yeah.
no doubt would come. But yeah, it's just not a big franchise anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. So, you know, the best way of trying to get closer to that, and I don't, you know, they're not going to get it back to the Halo 2 3 days where it was kind of a big pop culture, you know, thing. But it can get bigger, and the only way to really do that is by bringing it to other platforms, and it will. It will sell, like, I've no doubt it'll sell really well on PlayStation. It'll sell probably a couple million units. So, because beyond anything else, people will just be interested in, like, oh, you know, I've heard of Halo, or like, wow, I can't believe it's on PlayStation. Got to pick that up, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think it's good for the franchise. Obviously, they've then got to make a new one that's really good as well. But this is a start.
Do you guys think, and this is pure pie in the sky, because I've heard some people say, oh, kids won't like this. Do you think it's got the capacity to appeal to an audience that was not even born when it was last remastered?
And kids.
Because it is that old. You don't think so?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like, obviously, I have a very limited worldview. I don't interact with too many children. I've got 2 kids. And actually, one of them has been through the Halo game. So there's a chance. But broadly, it's not going to pull them away from Roblox.
Yeah, it might attract some new fans.
Kids don't know what they're missing. Don't know what they got.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, it's difficult. Yeah. It's, you know, like it's very difficult to pull that age group.
What do you mean this level takes more than 30 seconds?
yeah.
Bored. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think it's. I really like it. I'm not down on it at all. I want to see other levels, see what they look like. Particularly I want to see the big one for me is that the moment where you crash.
Yeah,
at the start.
That's every level that has a vehicle for me.
Yeah. Or Ninja Gaiden 4 when it just went launch. But yeah, I want to see that vista again. Because that blew me away back in the day, and you know,
it's amazing.
Cool to see it on UE5. So
it's when you first get in the Warthog and you start roaming around that level, the second level Halo, they just it's magic. I was going to ask you both actually, what level are you most looking forward to replaying?
Not the library.
Yeah, the library's mine. I don't know.
Actually,
no, it's not. No, of course not. There's 2 levels that stand out. The first one, obviously, like is iconic. The cartographer is iconic, but the one that goes dark and has the sniper rifles, where you get on the
Truth and Reconciliation.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think. What do I want to see? Probably the Guilty 343 Guilty Spark, which is
that's a good one.
The Flood one.
Yeah.
Because I actually really like the Flood. I know people have really mixed feelings about it, but I really like it.
I'm really excited to see how they reveal the Flood to the player, actually, because again, spoiler alert, if you haven't played it, sorry, but that itself was quite a big plot twist that wasn't teased, it wasn't advertised in the original campaigns or anything like that. So it kind of the introduction of the flood just sort of turned the game upside down.
Yeah, it was awesome.
All that suspense,
Yeah.
all that suspense is going to be ruined because I'm going to sprint right past it.
Yeah, I've seen that complaint a lot.
Yeah,
He's going to ruin the face of the game. It's not a horror anymore. Like, just fucking walk then. Like, just don't sprint.
Not me. I'm going to have to walk from the first level.
yeah, you'll glitch that through with two Marines in there as well.
Just kind of grenade bounce from start to finish. Do a fucking Mint Blitz on it.
Yeah.
I'd love to see how quickly Mint Blitz manages to just break that game. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be good.
Well, I think that's probably a good time to move on to the questions. Has anyone got anything else that you wanted to throw in there along the way?
No.
Oh, all good.
Nope. Okay. I am frantically clicking the wrong things, trying to get to it. It's already there, but I'm on the wrong view. So, first question. Should have done this one. I should have known, but I'm glad that it's here. Evening, chaps. What's not to like this week?
I'll go first if you want. Got mine. It is having to be at an airport at 6 a.m. the morning after the clocks change.
Oh, when's that? Bollocks. That's like now.
Tonight.
Tonight.
So not only do we lose an hour's sleep, but I've got to be up at 5 a.m., which actually means that I have to be up at 4 a.m. So that's fun. That is what is not to like this week.
I thought they went back tonight. Am I wrong?
Look, we'll figure that out offline. Everybody, the clocks are changing. Do your own research.
Wait, hold on. Does that mean I get more sleep? No, I do get more sleep.
You get an hour, actually.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Okay. No, we can like that. Right. In that case, no, ignore me completely. What is not to like this week, because this was my backup, is how tedious HDR controls are in all video games. Tinkering with HDR sucks. And I wish there was just like a magic button to make it awesome all the time. Sorry, Isla. That's my bad. We do, in fact, gain an hour. Sorry, we don't lose an hour. There's fake news. Sorry for the Trump impression. Just seemed appropriate.
That's giving me my what's not to like. Thank you, Deadly Headley.
Deadly's Trump impression. Done.
Yep. And Luke.
That was definitely one. And then probably also HDR, actually. As in, like, it's really fucking annoying when games have crap HDR.
Yeah.
And I'm like Silent Hill F, for example, has awful HDR, and I had to go in and mod it with Reno DX to get it to look. It looks great now, but I shouldn't have to do that. Too many games with black level rays, which is really annoying. Too many games like Ninja Gaiden 4 is like capped at 1,000 nits. Like, why is it capped? I don't understand. Just uncap like the highlights. And again, this is all stuff you can mod, so it's okay in a sense on PC. But obviously, if you're on console, you're kind of stuffed. And it's just annoying that we've had it for so long, and so many years later, there's still not like a standard in gaming. Even though I find it so transformative.
It's not even just gaming. It's a nightmare HDR. Like, you used to have, these are colors. Enjoy. Yeah. And then HDR came along and it's like, hey, these are colors in Dolby's eyes, and this is HDR, and this is HDR 10, and this is HLG, whatever. Like, just put in the correct colors, and if we have good TVs, they'll look right. And if we have bad TVs, they might look a little bit wonky. That's fine. That's fine. But no, HDR standards are a pain in the ass. So that's it's good.
That was a pretty solid what not to like. I'm quite proud of that. It's good. Good. Sorry about the Trump impression, but you know, big give and take in it.
Hodl Shark, it's the new upcoming PC/Xbox. Going to be a PC first with Windows and an Xbox app like the ROG, or a typical console-like experience. It's a PC, as far as we all know. Obviously, you can answer for yourselves, but I think expectation is that it is a PC with the Xbox app, and maybe even the PC Game Pass subscription. Who knows on that one?
I think the goal is for it to be a little bit more curated, so it does actually feel like it is somewhere in between and a little bit more locked down like a console, but with that flexibility.
More
I
so
don't
than the
think
Ally.
it's. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be the. It's literally just going to be an Xbox app on a PC because I don't think that's right for a console environment, especially when you're not going to have the same inputs that you would on the ROG Ally or a PC, like a touchpad or mouse and keyboard, etc. I think that right there is the key challenge for Xbox. It is being able to marry the two experiences that you outlined, Huddle, effectively. That's the big challenge. Whether or not they successfully do that is what I think they should be measured on.
Are you going to be able to open Excel on the new Xbox console?
That is an interesting question.
It's a good question.
But I presume
Probably.
yeah, I presume you're about to get into the Windows desktop, right? And then you can do what you want. You know, if you want to use your magnet to also, you know, do your budget, then I guess you could do that. I'd like this.
We're not using Xbox Party Chat anymore. It's all about Teams, baby. Get on Teams, play some games. Fuck Discord.
get Copilot going. Satya would love that.
Exactly.
I'm not sure you get a choice on that one. That's going to be there in the background either way.
Yeah. So
Awful.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it'll be. I think yeah, it's a PC, but I think they will aim for a more console-like experience. Certainly more so than what the current Xbox full screen experience is. Like it will be more console-like.
Fair. Super Chat Gamsley, keep up the good work. Enjoy the show. Have a good night. Make sure to keep the red wine topped off. I should not keep the red wine topped off. A glass is fine for me. Thank you very much. And let's have our next question, please. Yeah. So, what makes you... Oh. Okay.
Thank you, Gamsley.
I'm calm. So the next question is from Milo. Yes, thank you much, Lee. What makes you rage quit a game? Make life take the lemons back, get mad. Have you ever rage quit a game? Is that a thing that you do? Are you capable of such rage? Have you gone, fuck it, I'm never playing this again? Oh, I've done that actually. No.
When was the last time I rage quit a game?
Daily login rewards is the closest for me. I'll get as far as like seeing a daily login
What, to
reward,
rage quitting?
and then I may close that game straight down.
Yeah.
That's good. I remember having a boss fight that like I didn't rage quit, but I had to give up for the night because it wasn't going to get done and then come back to it. That was upsetting because I didn't want to walk away from it. That was in Baldur's Gate 3 in Act 3.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying. Yeah.
That happened like a year and a half ago. I'm still annoyed about it.
Yeah. What about you, Luke? Do you do the rage quit? Have either of you ever thrown a controller across the room? That's the like quintessential.
Yes. I've done that. Yeah, when I was younger. Yeah, I don't. I can still get very angry at games now, but it happens less frequently for most games.
Can I? The throwing a controller. You say when you were younger. Was it when you were already a lawyer? Like, was this nothing to you?
No.
Like 100 quid. Fuck off 100 quid. Fuck off 100 quid.
This controller was worth a lot more to me than it will be now.
I wondered where you were going with that.
Yeah, I was like, well, it's not a breach of the SRA code if I throw a controller. Like I can do that. Like as long as it's not at someone. The specific time I threw a controller was now I can't remember which Ninja Gaiden this is. It might be the first one, or it might be the second one. And there's a boss battle in it, which is against some twat. I can't remember his name. And you do that boss battle, and that boss battle was like Ninja Gaiden, as I say, 1 or 2, whichever one it was, really difficult back in the day anyway. And you did this boss battle, and it took me forever, and I was getting increasingly angry with the boss because I just couldn't do it. And after approximately like 30 to 40 attempts, I beat the boss, and I was elated. I was like, fantastic, let's go. And then the game rolled into a cutscene into another boss battle, a completely different boss. And that's when I threw my controller, because I started that boss battle and I was like, this boss is, it was like this giant beetle thing, like this giant monster. I can't remember. You like crash land. I remember this specifically, but not like really in depth. And yeah, it rolled into that, and that's when I threw my controller, because I was like, that's just the most bullshit thing. Like, I've just absolutely killed myself to beat this boss, thinking, okay, well, now I can have a nice break, I can do some combat, progress through level, and then it rolls straight into another really difficult boss battle. And if I remember rightly, it barely reset any of your ability or health stuff, so you kind of had to conserve as much as possible in that first boss battle when you rolled into the next one. So it was just bollocks. And that's when I threw my controller. So stuff like that will get into rage quit. I can't remember. I think it was okay, actually. I think it still works. It probably had a dent or two. But
Hodl Shark Joe, thank you for becoming a member on the channel. Make sure you do link it all up on Discord as well, because it all carries over there. Yeah, let's have the next question, please. Do you have any other good rage quit stories? You mentioned Baldur's Gate 3.
No, I think the only other one that comes to mind, and again, not really rage quitty, but I got incredibly frustrated playing Death Stranding, of all games, which is surprisingly zen. But the reason why I got frustrated was because my saves weren't syncing between PC and Xbox. Turns out that's still a bug. That was something that Jez Corden brought to light recently while he was reviewing the ROG Ally X. It's still a problem. Saves still don't work on Death Stranding. So I lost like 2 hours worth of progress, and I think for a couple of days I just went, I don't want to fucking look at this anymore, because like I'm literally retracing my steps, and I just didn't want to. But no.
Yeah, so I've had rage not starts, but not really rage quits. I will literally just decide I'm not playing a game if it tells me I've got a login streak or all of that kind of stuff. It does upset me. Or I log on in and it's like, you can buy this boost for 20 quid if you want. Nah, don't want to play this. That kind of thing will make me rage not start. But
I came very close to rage quitting Skate when I saw how many loot boxes there were, actually. That annoyed me.
Yeah. Right, next one is up. It is James. At the moment, I'm on a Final Fantasy phase. What's your guys' favorite Final Fantasy game? Oh shit. That's a big, deep, impossible question. So for Deadly Headley, it's none, and for Luke, it's Final Fantasy 15. Yeah, none's a terrible answer.
Say it's 15, clearly.
Are you actually going to say 15? Is it just to upset me?
I'm not going to. Okay, I actually really like 15, but it's not my favorite one.
What is your favorite one?
Probably 9.
Is it? You like the furry stuff?
Yeah.
Oh no. It was such a seedy as well. Yeah. Tails, fluffy ears.
Yeah. Good shit. What's yours? Is yours also 15?
Well, no, I'm actually I'm still playing 16 at the moment, and it's really upset me at the moment. I haven't rage quit, but it's really disappointing every time I play it.
Then boss battles though, they're good.
It's got the spectacle, and the main story and the setting are all pretty good, but when it goes side quest mode, when it deliberately lulls the pace, it's too long. Like, these side quests are bad. I don't care about this baker's apprentice. Please, you're killing me. So that's quite upsetting. So 16 is not my favorite, besides not really being much of a Final Fantasy game. 7 holds a special place as the first one. Everyone's Final Fantasy game they played first holds a little special place. I don't actually think it'll end up being my first when I've finished my series of playing through them all again. But so far, I'm not very far into that. So I probably still have to put 7 at the top for the time being. But I do expect that once I've played them all again, I'll pick something else. Because 7 definitely has little flaws in it. I'll always love it for what it is, but it has little flaws, and I reckon some of the other ones might trump it. So 8's one that I'm really... Yeah, I didn't like it at the time, and I think it's one that will hold up a lot better when I go back to it. than it did at the time, because
Yeah,
at the
that's
time
true.
I held it in direct comparison with 7 and had certain expectations that it didn't meet. But I also think I did hold 7 in like too high regard for the flaws that are in there. And I think I see it in a more clear light now. 8 might hold up. It has this massive flaw in 8 for me where it's too long. Like they artificially inflated it to beat 7's disc count. And they've actually said that. That was always my suspicion at the time, but they've actually said since that they felt a need to have 4 discs. And that game should have finished at the end of disc 2 for me before it went weird. But I think playing it again, maybe I'll like it a lot more than I did the first time. Yeah, difficult question, James. I've never played Tactics either, which is supposed to be really damn good. And that's on my list to get to soon. A lot of people love 6 as well, which I've never played. So I am going to bottle the question entirely and not give you an answer right now. 7's in the lead. 15's at the bottom.
Oh, God.
I hate Final Fantasy. Sorry.
You can't hate it. You've not played it. Come on now. Be nice.
Yeah, what I have played, I don't like, and what I haven't played, I find thoroughly unappealing.
You know, each to their own. But one of these days, you're going to like a game, and I'm going to be like, nah, and vomit all over that.
I'm sure we can find one. You're not a Splinter Cell guy, are you? I need to actually play Splinter Cell. Oh, has anyone, either of you watched the Splinter Cell series yet?
No,
not yet.
You're interested in it?
no.
Kind of. But it's
Are you that opposed to stealth? So
No,
that you
no,
won't even watch
It's not even like it's a small fragment of the whole Tom Clancy series, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah,
I'm just not grounded in that at all, so it doesn't
fair.
really pull me at all.
I haven't watched it yet, but I do want to. What were you going to say, Luke? Have you any interest in it?
Yeah, I mean, I love Splinter Cell, but kind of it perpetually angers me that we haven't had any other game, and so
Yeah.
I almost get an urge to rage quit watching the series before I even watch it, because it will just remind me of the fact that we don't have a game, but we have a fucking animated show on Netflix. Like,
Yeah, I'm with you on that entirely.
Yeah.
I do want to watch the series, but yeah, I am pissed off about that.
Are Ubisoft
very
responsible for the series, or are they not? Is it book licensed or whatever?
I think they might have like some
remember.
input,
Sure.
but I don't know how much.
James has never played Splinter Cell and says that Deadly Headley is an awful person for liking it. Controversial, but
I'm trying to think what other games I like that you definitely won't.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be a bunch. Just say like FIFA or something. You don't like FIFA, do you?
No, I'm alright.
Brute force.
What do you mean? I don't hate brute force.
Did I play Brute Force? Is that on the
Like Brute
PS1?
Force? No, it's
No,
on the
Xbox.
Oh, okay.
Brute
What am I thinking of? Oh, I'm thinking of Fighting Force. I loved that
yeah.
on the PS1. That was fun.
That was good.
Yeah, that was cool.
Right. Here's a question from Tom. Important question. Do you remap controls straight away when jumping into a new game, or do you prefer to get used to game-specific control schemes?
Game specific. Never remap controls.
Do you not?
Depends on the game.
Depends on the platform for me. If it's a controller game, then I jump straight in with whatever they've given me and only change it if it upsets me. If it's a keyboard and mouse game, I immediately change the jump button. Or I immediately change all of them. But keyboard and mouse, because you've obviously got all of these buttons, you can very much customize the configuration for every game, and I just try and get them to be as like as possible, as familiar as possible. So
I think the only time I will change a control setup from default is, especially if I'm using an elite pad. I always use the paddles on the back. I always use all 4. The bottom 2 I always use for jump and crouch. If jump and crouch are not set to A and B respectively, I will tweak those so that those paddles do what I want them to. But other than that, no, I'll keep them as they are.
fair. No, I change quite a lot, especially on the PC side of things. But next one, please. If there are any more, I'm not sure if there are or not. Can't tell. Because
good questions this week.
They're always good questions. That's why it's a highlight. Community questions is the good bit. James, I know Xbox are going third party. I accept that. I'm only worried about other devs avoiding Xbox third party. Wait, question just collapsed on me. I'm only worried about other devs avoiding Xbox third party. Do you think that they're going to stop making third party games for Xbox? So this is like a valid concern that people that are invested into the Xbox ecosystem have, because we've seen some examples of it historically over the course of the last couple of generations. Anyway, Xbox being the kind of smaller audience, there have been issues where third-party publishers may have skipped over the console. Do you think that's going to get better or worse with their new strategy?
Get better, surely, because it'll be a PC. So play PC games.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think going forward, we're going to see games released for Xbox Series consoles at a bare minimum, and I reckon Xbox on PC is probably going to be the nomenclature that or Xbox PC. They keep on changing it. They keep on switching between Xbox on PC or just Xbox PC. But yeah, those concerns are understandable. I do get it, because as we've talked about in the show, the changes or supposed changes that are potentially on offer from Xbox, they do question a lot of those concerns that you've raised. And the Ernest, unfortunately, is on Xbox to give straight answers, but they're really bad at giving straight answers. So that in itself is really frustrating. I don't know. It's a tough one. But I think you're right, Luke. I think potentially that third party support option it's a release on the Windows Store. And actually I think that's probably, honestly, that's probably the thing to expect. Expect it to be a Windows Store release with a Series X and S port. Because I think that's going to be how it's going to move forward. That way you get that Play Anywhere entitlement, you get that across the Ally, a PC, your console experience. But yeah, it's a weird question, because it does sort of it does fundamentally change the way we have accessed console games. But I don't know. I think it will be a positive change overall.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think if Magnus plays PC SKUs, then you're never going to have to worry about support for an Xbox again, because you can play everything that comes to PC, right? So, yeah, like it will just be supported by default in that scenario, even if people aren't making specific kind of optimized versions for the Xbox Magnus or whatever. So,
and actually, as we've talked about a long time ago now, I said that in terms of being able to scale across different hardware iterations, potentially makes it much easier for the player, because if there are several different versions of these Xbox PC machines, and let's say also hypothetically, we've kind of seen this a little bit with games being optimized for handheld. I wonder if every title that we see launch on Xbox PC / Windows / whatever they name it, it almost has like a sort of recommendation based on the version of hardware or OEM that you're using, and that sort of effectively becomes almost like an evolved version of smart delivery. Does that make sense?
Yeah. If it has, like, they can do like this, almost like the Steam Deck optimized profiles.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you can kind of go in and make it's not a bespoke version, but it's like developers tweak settings and do the stuff for you, so that you get the optimal experience. So yeah, if they can do that, I mean, it just depends, I guess, on how many SKUs there are. If there's lots, I don't think developers are going to put that effort in when you can just people can tweak it, right? So that's the big unanswered question, I think, about that next generation, about what that actually looks like in terms of development and end user, playing the game and how it works. So we need to find out more.
Yeah, and it's a weird one because the question came up earlier, like, is the new bit of hardware going to be like lead console or lead PC? And when you get these follow-up questions on what it means in terms of the build of a game that goes out, like, would a third party want to do a specific Xbox build of the game if the console can already play the PC version?
Yeah.
And at that point, is it still a lead console if you've not got a console specific SKU of a game or whatever? It's like
that is why I say I think you're going to see games released on the Windows Store and Series X and S, because I think Series X and S is broadly going to support pretty much everything that we see going forward now. Same with PS5, like I can see that being supported for.
But then when you pull that into James's question, is it going to harm support? I mean, yeah, maybe. It might harm support in that sense for the Series X, not for the Xbox going forwards, but specifically for the current like console user, maybe.
Yeah.
But don't worry, James. I'm assuming your intent is to get the new one anyway, so you'll be well supported with games everywhere on all of the platforms. You'll be fine. Next question is, for me, when am I going to start playing Final Fantasy 3? Final Fantasy 4 is so much better. James, soon. It's been on my to-do list. Right, I finished Final Fantasy 2 quite a while ago. 3 is numerically the next entry for me to get to, so when I can, I will, I promise. It is something I want to do. I want to get through all of them. I actually really enjoyed, even though 1 and 2 have definitely aged and have their issues, there was quite a nice, relaxing experience to go back to. I had never played them before when they were fresh. Like, this is first time playthroughs of the original ones, just to see where the series came from, and it has been kind of nice. So, Tom, any tips for getting deodorant marks out of t-shirts? Oh, I could actually use an answer for this.
Yes.
Go on.
Try rubbing the material against itself. So, like, where your deodorant mark is, like, rub a piece of that same material against it. That might do it. That's certainly what's worked for me in the past. Sort of might also depend on the type of deodorant that you're using, but yeah, maybe give that a go. Short of that, I don't know. Good luck.
Burn it with fire. Luke, any advice?
Don't burn it with fire.
Put it in the bin, buy a new one.
Throw the controller at the wall.
That works too.
Lawyers in
there. Get that lawyer money and then just throw your clothes away. Apparently, Justin Timberlake does that with underwear. I'd swear there was an interview that Justin Timberlake did once where he said he does that with underwear. He doesn't reuse underwear, he just buys new underwear. Rage quit laundry. That's good, Tyler. I like that.
Yeah. Right. Wait a minute, who's this from? It's from a meme. If Xbox becomes a PC, does this mean that Half-Life 3 is going to be an Xbox exclusive and that Xbox will have better VR support? Oh, I wonder if you'll be able, if it's a PC, will it have de facto VR support?
Technically, yes.
Look at that.
On the exclusivity bit, and yeah, I think so.
Xbox will have delivered a Half-Life exclusive and native VR. That's 4D chess from Microsoft.
That actually is.
Incredible stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's the definite answer. Next one, please. Yeah. So, Tom's grateful, by the way, if you're rubbing the t-shirt against itself. Answer.
I hope it works. I'm really excited about playing Felt That. That's a PC only game. Yeah, Felt That boxing. Yeah, it looks great.
Incredible. Yeah,
that looks so fun.
I know the one you're talking about. I've seen that. That did look good. I didn't know it was PC exclusive though. Right. Huddle Shark. Are traditional next-gen stellar thing with so many variants and versions and consoles in different timelines? At what point do we reach next gen, if at all? They're stellar thing for some people, but not for Xbox. Like, Xbox moved away from that, or tried to move away from that previously. The old school hard reset down to an audience of 0, that's long gone. Like PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3, that kind of era of console where you get a completely different library of games, that's already gone away. Like when probably even the prior ones, the 4 and the 5, when both of them moved on to the x86 architecture, the common architecture, that was with a view to smoothing over generations altogether, so that they didn't have to do that hard reset every time they had a new piece of hardware. Microsoft were more effective in that, so you'd still consider PlayStation 6 to be a new generation when it comes out, regardless of how compatible it is with the 5 library. But it probably will be quite compatible and probably will be quite a smooth transition. On the Xbox side of things, I don't think generations are going to pretty much exist as a term after the next piece of hardware. I don't think it'll make any sense anymore.
Certainly not in the same way. I think like we've already seen it's not like officially been called the next gen device, but it is being hailed as the next generation of Xbox, is being held as sort of next gen technology in terms of it being more kind of like Windows hybrid-y based sort of thing.
You still say the phones have generations though, right? Like they're completely open-ended and the software's compatible, but they number them so that you can keep track, and you might call it a generation ish.
Yeah, but I think like we certainly with phones you don't get that sort of generational leap anymore. I think we've seen.
What about USB ports?
Definitely
those are generations.
We've certainly seen similar complaints with the GPU market about there not really being some generational increases. Just to add to Hodleshock's questions, who said to me next gen like when we get something that feels like next gen, such as when we saw ray tracing and then path tracing.
Even those, like ray tracing and path tracing, I wouldn't say were as extreme as the old generational leaps.
So PlayStation, it was Mark Cerny and someone from AMD sort of teased a bit about how they're trying to get like path tracing technology into a console. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't even think they should try that, because I think like based on the experiences that I've had with like getting path tracing running with Indiana Jones, yeah, it looks nice, but it's gonna hamper your performance. And I don't, in an era where we've heard so much belly aching over 30 FPS, do you really want to volunteer for forced 30 FPS at a push with path tracing on a console?
The thing with path tracing though is if they get it right, it transforms the development pipeline in particular. Not just the visual experience for the end user, but the fact that you don't like stuff looks how it's supposed to, kind of more naturally.
What I'm saying though is based on how these demands are already being put on the PC user, and not demands, but like those options, they impose quite a lot of demand on PC hardware already. I don't think it's worth it trying to put that in as a selling point for PS6.
I'd agree that there's like no point if they have it in a position where a developer has to do like a rasterized profile versus a path tracing profile for the same game to give you your 30 or 60 or whatever. But if you've got enough grunt in there that you can say, right, path tracing is our baseline and this is what we're designing the game around, then it saves so much time on lighting to have it be. It's like it's like real, but it's like the equivalent of like dynamic day-night cycles have become common and they didn't used to be. Lighting used to be pre-baked and you'd spend like thousands of rendering hours getting really good lighting in a scene because the lights didn't move and it was fine, so you can make it look pristine. You've moved over to lighting that's not necessarily as good but can be dynamic. You get path tracing and you've got the best of all of it because you don't need to put that effort in, and it can look how it's supposed to. So there are advantages to it if they can get it working, but working with AMD to deliver that when they're currently so many light years behind, it's hard to see where they go. So
and if you look at that talk that Cerny had, the AMD one, you know, they were the things that they announced were basically, they kind of sounded like for like with NVIDIA's ray tracing tech, just by different name. So like they're using like Radiance cores, which are the tensor cores. The AMD, the NVIDIA use, and you know they're going down that path. But I think they get it right, it could be a massive leap in consoles in terms of ray tracing performance. I mean, you know, I'm been pleasantly surprised about ray tracing performance on consoles this generation. Obviously, nothing's doing path tracing yet, which is very demanding. But you've got, I mean, you've even got the Switch 2 on Outlaws using RTGI, which is bonkers to me. Absolute bonkers. Yeah. So if you can, if you can optimize to that level on hardware, which is that weak, relatively speaking, a proper AMD pipeline with, hardware RT support that's much more like what NVIDIA are doing on their RTX GPUs, could be way better performance than I think people maybe think. Path tracing, another step up, very difficult. But if a next gen GPU is broadly equivalent in power to, say, a 5070, maybe a 5080, plausible. You could do path tracing on that. So just depends. I mean, it's going to depend on developers as well, but yeah.
Especially like in tandem with the various like AI upscaling and all of the other things that are coming along to make this stuff more viable.
Yeah.
If they can get it right, I would want them to at least be doing the research to see if they can do it right.
Yeah. And then, I mean, Cerny like has spoken about that kind of like, path tracing, or ray tracing generally, I guess, is sort of the future of rendering, because it just makes everything look better. And as Asa said, it makes it easier for developers to actually, you don't have to art up for specific, lighting, static lighting. You can just do what you want and then plug away, really. So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting.
It gets like ray tracing in general gets a fairly bad rep because it is demanding, and people have attempted to enable it on games where their PC wasn't up to it or whatever else, their console flipped down to 30 and they went, oh, I hate this technology, it's not worth the trade-off. And the trade-off, like, that can be a fair takeaway from what they've seen in that particular example or whatever, but it is still kind of inevitability for the direction that rendering technology goes, because there are massive advantages to it when the hardware catches up. So yeah, I reckons. Do you regret asking for all the questions? Did I ask for all the questions? I do not regret it. They've all been wonderful. Do either of you regret the questions that we've had this evening?
No, but I am hungry now.
There's not one question on brute force, so I am quite disappointed.
There you go. So the answer to that was actually, we regret that there weren't more questions specifically around brute force, but don't put one in now because it's hungry time. So thank you, everybody, for coming through and talking to us and listening to some nonsense. And Luke, we're going to round off now, close it up, tell people whatever you want to tell people.
Join the Discord.
Huge.
And then I'll also be here. Bye.
That's what he wants to tell people. That's enough. Deadly Headley, what are you going to eat? How are you going to solve this hunger problem?
So Mrs. Deadly made a chicken and noodle stir fry with sriracha sauce and peanut butter, which is going to be delicious. Very excited about that. What I want to tell you is, for the first time since finding out that I was going to lose my job, making a video. So please make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. You go and check that out, hit the like button and all that sort of stuff. It is about Halo and exclusivity on Xbox and delivering that rationality that I have built a reputation for. So enjoy that. It's going to be a sensible take. No crash outs.
Please crash out about the health system. I'm very upset by it.
I don't want to crash out about the health system, their health system, because I am actually quite happy to see the back of it. Sorry.
You're a Call of Duty wanker. And that's what I want to say. So, yeah, I'll be in the Discord. I'm probably maybe going to stream some Enshrouded in a minute over on the other channel. Jump on the Gaming Arcadia server and play some of that, as there's some people wanting to get involved with Enshrouded. I will try and generally bring back more of the streams this week. I've got some stuff sorted out that I need to do. So that's me. That's us. That's the Arcadia Roundtable done for today. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you on the next one.